You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Stay tuned. Today on Talking Shop, we're going to be talking to Zach Kaplan and John Parrish. See you in a sec. That's like so short. It's like hard to share. It's awesome though. All right. We've got some awesome back-to-back interviews today for you guys for comics that are coming out this week. Up first is my good friend. I haven't talked to him in forever. We see each other at conventions all the time, but because everyone's traveling, I haven't seen him in a long time. Let's welcome Zach Kaplan.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. I know you were a super busy person this week. You've got interviews galore. I'd love to hear that.
I got lots of stuff, yeah, but it's exciting. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I have a weird question for you.
Yeah.
Do you plan to have all of your projects dump at the same time?
Perfectly executed. Yes. Master plan pulled up. No, it wasn't. I did kind of hope when I was cooking everything a little while back that I would release them all within a 6 to 9 month period of time. Like that was, I had a bunch in kind of that I was gearing up, and the pandemic kind of twisted some plans around. So I could see that it was all coming early this year. But then as it all got planned with releases, it just kind of hit one after another. So yeah, April, May, June, and there's one more on the horizon in August. And yeah, it's a little bit of a gauntlet, but it's exciting. I'm excited to just pour out a ton of amazing books on everybody. So yeah.
Absolutely. Because the way I remember it now, this might be my old brain not working really properly, is that Port of Earth and Eclipse were both running at the same time-ish at Top Cow Image. And they were really successful. So, did you see those as being supportive of each other? That people saw one of them running and they were like, well, I have to read the other one because I like the writing style?
Yeah, I think so. They're both hard sci-fi. And yeah, I think that there were people that started with Eclipse that then followed my work into Port of Earth and then kept reading Eclipse. I think there are people that missed Eclipse, but then Port of Earth came out and they liked that. And then they went, oh, wait a minute, here comes a volume 2 or volume 3 of Eclipse. So let me get on that. Both of those series had were both also I kind of dove in, and they were longer form. They both went 3 or 4 arcs. So yeah, I think
there's not a lot of people that their freshman offerings are so successable. And I'm sure that you had other things that had come out before, that this wasn't truly your freshman thing. But I think for a lot of people,
they were. The Eclipse was my first comic, and Port of Earth was my second comic. I got thrown into the deep end. Eclipse was initially set to be a 4-issue miniseries, and it did well, and we just kept going with that. And then Port of Earth took off, and yeah, so yeah,
so awesome. And then came the aftershock goodness of the 2 back-to-back, Join the Future and
Lost City Explorers was right before that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those seem to be they're not anything like each other, but I think that they also were benefiting from the fact that you had your things out there so people could jump between the two.
Yeah, I think so. And I think Lost City Explorers was a little different. It was a little more like young adult and teenagers and a little more adventure-y. Join the Future, I think, had some of the hard sci-fi elements of Port of Earth and Eclipse, but then that was also helmed by a young protagonist, and that was kind of unique in and of itself. I mean, I like finding sci-fi stories that kind of are a bunch of genres mashed together and that they feel kind of fresh and they still have a cool hook. And I think Lost City Explorers came out, and then people were collecting that trade when Join the Future hit. So that kind of all worked well to kind of do those back to back. So, and then I guess now I have the same opportunity here with all of these. So yeah.
But none of these are with the same company, right? It's Dark Horse, Image,
Vault. Yeah.
You just like spread it, rapid fire.
I had, yeah, I mean, they're all great companies. I was excited to work with all of them, and I've been talking to them all, and found a great project with each one, and it just kind of worked out that all the books came out together. But I've been excited to work with Vault since I had my kind of origin story in 2016 in comics, and they kind of started at the exact same time, and we had been talking kind of on and off ever since. And I went to their table back when they were in small press at San Diego, and I saw them on their first convention appearance. So we've been talking for a very long time about doing something. Dark Horse, I've always loved so many Dark Horse, properties, whether it's Hellboy or Black Hammer and so many things in between. And I've been talking to them for a while and found something really awesome to work on with them. So, and then, I love doing books with Top Cow. It's been a great opportunity to continue doing great sci-fi with them. So yeah, it worked out that I had a bunch of different books with different publishers, and I like it. It's exciting. It's nice to be able to work with different publishers and creative teams.
I'm happy to see Vault like being successful and being able to like combine their efforts with, I think they just got a big boost so that they can follow their dreams a little bit better. Because I mean, when I met them, it was a family-run business. It was the Wassel brothers, and I got to sit down and talk to Wassel Senior, and he's the coolest dude on the planet. Like, he needs to write a book about himself, honestly.
But I think they still kind of have a similar vibe and a similar mission statement from the onset, which is, they're by the bootstraps. They're doing it for the love and the passion of comics. It's a real kind of boutique feel, but shoot for the moon in terms of the kind of stuff they do. And I mean, it stood out to me right away. And I've been an avid, I've just been a reader of Vault comics, and all there's so many great titles coming out of them.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite like you would recommend to somebody?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's not the I mean, Savage Shores is I think it's not the tentpole like premiere one, but to me that's the that's just such a great series. I mean, Wasted Space is just so fun and so incredible, and I'm excited about Barbaric. I think that's a really strong series that's starting off here. So Moretsi's just really, he does kind of tongue-in-cheek comedic adventures with heart really well. So I like his stuff, and Vault does so many
axes are the best.
Yeah, the Vault does a lot of great horror stuff. So yeah, they got a lot of great options. I liked Heathen back in the day. Heathen was just so, is that pronounced right? Heathen?
That's right.
Yeah. Heathen. It's
I think that's still moving forward for development. They announced their director, and the director made everyone super happy. So who knows?
I think so.
How far back it's been pushed because of pandemic, but I'm hoping that still actually gets made.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's been a tough road for a lot of things that have been in development, because it's made everything very uncertain for when things can go into production, or if they're in the middle of it, what to do next.
That's right. There was definitely, I mean, I've heard the same rumblings. There was a period of time when they weren't sure when they could resume production with the pandemic, and so they were definitely postponing a lot of opportunities to greenlight things and send it off, and they had to pick and choose. So yeah.
So you're out in LA still, correct?
I am, yes. Yeah.
So do you, outside of your comic book writing, do you have other things you do in the industry?
No, I mean, I am pretty much comics full time, and I'm, in addition to all the titles I'm currently working on for this year, I'm working on a bunch of stuff that will be for next year. And obviously I participate in the film and TV adaptation stuff that I have been fortunate enough to get going with some of my series. So I get to kind of participate in that as it comes together. But I graduated. I came out to Hollywood And you know, I had aspirations initially of doing film and TV writing, and I went to USC Film School, and you know, I did that for a while. But I loved comics, and I always wanted to do one, and then I got fortunate to do Eclipse, and I just fell in love with it. And you know, I kind of remember saying to my management team, like, I'm going all in on comics here. This is what I want to do, and I just want to keep making great comics. And I love the direct experience that you have with readers and with shops and at conventions. It's a very, I just feel like the excitement and the thrill of sharing the storytelling experience with people, it's just far more immediate and exciting in comics. And you know, film and TV is great too. I love film and TV. I'm excited to see some of my things being adapted, but when you're writing film and television, it's a very, I feel like, removed, if you're the writer or you're on the production, it's a very removed experience. You're off in a cave writing, then you're on set. But then when these things come out, you know, a mid-level television writer does not, you know, go to conventions and like talk directly with people about their episode. And like, it's just, and I just fell in love with I remember like my first few comic conventions, just the excitement around comics. I had never been to a comic convention. I'd been reading comics for years and years. I had not been to a comic convention until I became a creator. And so, yeah, I just fell in love with the whole environment. And, you know, I was like, I'm all in on this. And so, yeah.
Do you remember where was your first convention that you guys go and as a creator sit down?
I think it was San Diego, like a year before Eclipse came out. And I had kind of set up Eclipse, and I was waiting on Giovanni Timpano because I decided to go with him, but he was working on something else. So he was a few months out, and Top Cow invited me to come on down. And, you know, I just got to see it. And I mean, talk about a first convention experience. I mean, like, my mind was blown. I was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then, yeah, it just, that was amazing. And then I remember going to conventions earlier on. I think I went to some of the small conventions like LA Comic-Con and Long Beach Comic-Con. LA is not too small, but by comparison to like San Diego or New York, but there's an immediacy. There's like, you're really engaging with people. And yeah, I really love I love conventions. They're a slog. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're tiring working at convention. Yeah. But I still get a kick out of it. I still get excited when I step into a convention. Yeah.
So that first San Diego Comic-Con, did Top Cow have that cool end cap booth that they have now?
I think they still, I think they still had the same booth. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right near as far back as I can remember, and I've been going since '99. I don't remember them being anywhere else.
Yeah, I must have been the same. Right. Yeah. They're right nearby. They were right nearby Image. And all the Image books that I had been reading for so long. And I remember too, I mean, Mark Silvestri like popped into the booth, and I don't think I had met him, to be honest. I think, you know, like, we had traded a few emails. I had obviously been talking a lot to Matt Hawkins, and I think Mark Silvestri like came up to me, and he had like a zoo waiting for him. And before he even started, you know, signing stuff and drawing, he kind of said, "Hey Zach, you know, how you doing? Nice to meet you." And like, the friendliest guy in the world. And just, I was like, "Oh, hi, great to meet you, Mark Silvestri." Like, this is, yeah. So
say it correctly, because this is the way it really looks. Like, because I met him in 2018 for the first time. It really is. Hi, Mr. Silvestri.
Yes.
How are you?
Yes.
He's
yes.
impossibly tall.
Yeah, he's really tall. Yeah, he's really tall. But you know, he had like a couple hundred people waiting for him, and he was just the nicest guy. And yeah, it was just, it was quite an experience, the first one, for sure.
He's a very warm person. It's like, there's sometimes when you don't want to meet your heroes because you're afraid they're going to be a little cold. But no,
that's true. Yes.
Really nice.
Yes. Yeah.
So are there people specifically for comic books that you really would love to work with, that you've sent the foray out there? Please, I have a project that we need to work on.
In terms of artists or writers or
artists.
Artists?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. like you're asking me like dream artist. I mean, artists that I know I would never get, but like Andrea Sorrentino, who is doing all the books. Like
shoot for the stars, Zach. Shoot for the stars.
Oh, he's so good, and what he and Jeff Lemire do is so amazing. So yeah, that would be incredible to do something with him. I love what Liam Sharp has been doing lately, and just incredible stuff. His Green Lantern art was just so creative, and he's doing his own thing. I think it's called like Starhenge, which looks just killer. And yeah, he's really incredible. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about. Oh, I mean, like, Christian Ward is now writing his own stuff, but like he's incredible. Matteo Scalera is just, I think everything he touches is just golden. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of there's
so many good creators out there.
It's a golden age. I feel like there's just so many, and there's so many up and coming ones that are just doing amazing things. I mean, I'm not naming up and coming ones because you asked me like what are my dream picks that I would never, but there are great ones that are coming up. There's a lot of great creators and great books coming out right now. It's a very cool time to be making comics.
Are there any of the artists you've worked with before that you like feel a real kinship? You want to work with them more?
I mean, I definitely developed a close relationship with Giovanni because that was our first book, and we did 4 arcs together. I would love to do more with him. It just timing hasn't worked out, and he's been doing Call of Duty, I think the video game Call of Duty, and he's got a couple European books that he's doing. But I would love to do something with him. I mean, Andrea Moody, we had a fantastic time doing Port of Earth. I mean, we still talk about maybe doing more Port of Earth down the road. I would love to do something new with him. I mean, I've had a great time working with with all my collaborators, but I also get really excited about working with new collaborators. I can't lie. I find it really exciting to work with someone new. So as much as I enjoy those experiences, just going to the well over and over again, I feel like I'm a young, new creator, and I want to try new things, try different stories, try different creative experiences. I want to work with different artists and different styles. And so, Peter Kowalski was fantastic to work with on Join the Future, and each experience is great, but then it's exciting to move on. That's why the books I have coming out here, Breakout and Metal Society and Mindset, all different styles, all different artists, and all a different opportunity to play in the medium. So yeah.
Okay, so Breakout is the one that comes out this Wednesday.
Breakout, yes.
You have a really cool like a trailer video that I've been sharing around. It explains it very clearly. Not why kids are getting abducted by hovering spaceships.
Yeah, spaceships. But spaceships. Yeah.
So they just like hovering there. They don't make any noise. They just magically appear someday.
Yeah, they just mysteriously materialized all around the globe, and then these spaceships started sending out robotic drones, and they're only abducting young people between the age of like 10 and 20 or so. And we don't know why. The spaceships won't answer our calls. We can't attack the spaceships. Our soldiers cannot get into the spaceships. Any adults come near that thing, they get obliterated. And we tried as best we could, and there's nothing we can do. So the world has just basically said, sorry, young people, you just got to live with it and go back to ordinary life. And a few of you are going to get abducted and taken away every week, and there's nothing we can do about it. And the story focuses on this young man named Liam Watts, and his brother gets taken, and he decides, sitting around waiting and pretending nothing happened is not for him. He's going to do something about it. So he's going to put together a crew and plan an Ocean's 11 style out of this world prison break, get his brother back. So Yeah.
So have they figured out anything? Nothing spoiler obviously, but have they figured out why people are being chosen? Like,
it's a mystery. It's a mystery that you'll have to read to find out what is really going on inside that cube spaceship and why they're taking only young people, and who's behind it, and what are the individuals inside. That's all part of, I think, the fun of reading it and finding out the mystery of it all. Yeah, it's not too different from Port of Earth. We didn't get into Port of Earth until the very end. Yeah, but ultimately we do find out what's going on in the cubes. Yeah, for sure.
Whatever viewers says, as long as there's Wi-Fi in the cubes, I don't think they'd mind.
There is not Wi-Fi in the cube. Sorry, spoiler alert. No Wi-Fi, no iPads, and no Netflix and chill in the cubes.
Well, I'm sure that's going to be part of the figuring things out, right? Like, we don't know what's going on in there, so
yeah, it's a cool mashup of, there's this kind of Ocean's 11 heist, Prison Break kind of form, and obviously once the crew of young people kind of plan to pull off this heist, they've got to work together and figure out how they're going to do it, and then ultimately pull it off. So there's definitely that component, and then there's kind of an allegory going on of how older generations pass on our problems to younger generations and kind of say, sorry, we couldn't do much about this existential situation, and you guys just have to live with it. I mean, I think that the metaphors are pretty obvious in terms of, how young people feel sometimes about the world that they're being given. So it's got some drama, and it's got some cool sci-fi adventure, and and the artwork is gorgeous. Wilton Santos, Jason Wordy make an incredible art team. They just gorgeous pages, and Jim Campbell is our letterer, just dynamite. So yeah, I think people are going to also find it's a really beautiful book. Yeah.
So this one, Breakout is slated as a long form, or
it's a mini series. It's just a mini series. Actually, it's a tight 4-issue mini series. So it's just a ride, and each issue is very it's got some, like, I think the first issue is like 28 pages, and then some of the other issues are 26, 24 pages. So it's definitely substantial pages. You get a lot of story for a little bit, and there's some gorgeous covers by we got Adam Gorham to do our main covers, and then Raphael Albuquerque did a amazing variant for issue 1, and we got Jacob Phillips to do one, and Jorge Fornes to do one, and of course, Jen, there's this killer variant for issue 1. Francisco Francavilla did a variant. Only 9 stores have it, including Space Cadets. So that one will be fun. Anybody who's out there, hit up Space Cadets or go hunting for it and see if you can find it. It probably will not last too long, I don't think, out there. But it's really a really cool Francisco Francavilla cover, which was really exciting. So we got some killer covers for the series, which was really really great too. Yeah.
I love being part of like these kind of, like, I call them kind of like team variants, where it's like someone near you probably is part of the group of stores, but it still has exclusivity.
Yeah, it was fun. I think it was a fun thing to put together, and I mean, the cover's really cool, and we kind of we did it, and then it's not orderable, so it's kind of like this big fun surprise right at the very end. And I think that readers who like the series and want to get something special for it, there's only 2 main covers, so if you want something extra, this is a great way to kind of expand your experience and grab this cover. So yeah,
that's awesome. And then I definitely want to have you back to talk about Mindset and Metal Society, but those are also very intriguing. Would you like the super short pitch for those?
Sure. Metal Society is an Image Top Cow book that's out in May. It ends orders today. So if you like what you hear, I would call your shop by the end of the day here and tell them you want to subscribe and get it. But basically, it's a future where robots have taken over. Humans have had our chance and we've blown it. But then robots bring back humans. They resurrect us to do the jobs that they don't want to do. And the story follows a human named Rosa. She's just tough badass human who's going to show what humans are made of and face off against a robot in an MMA style boxing fight. So it's like Rocky meets Blade Runner. It's humans versus robots. It's really epic. It's really heartfelt. It's really awesome. It's the craziest sci-fi boxing drama in the world of robots you've ever seen. And I think it's you guys are going to love it. Fantastic artwork by Guilherme Balbi, Marco Lesko, who's the colorist from Blade Runner, the comic, and Troy Pateri on letters. And it's just another killer looking book. So that's out in May 4th. Yeah. And then Mindset is from Vault Comics. This is by myself and the Eisner winning artist of digital artist John Pearson, who was on Ram V's Blue and Green, and he did Batman Urban Legends, and he's in Razor Blades. And the artwork is unbelievable. It's basically a sci-fi techno thriller, kind of in the vein of like David Fincher, about 4 grad school kids who discover mind control and put it in an app. And the app goes viral, and it's got murder, it's got twists and turns. It's just an unbelievable, crazy ride. It is really cool, really gorgeous. I really, no pun intended, think that it's going to blow people's minds. It's just a really exciting book, and that's out in June with Vault.
I love the stories that come out of your head, Zach, because all of them are a little bit terrifying if they actually were to happen, but they just have enough, like, that could really happen, yo.
Yeah.
To make them desirable.
That's all it takes. It's just one what if, and then the rest. Although the mind control thing is kind of the closest to reality. We're all being a little bit mind controlled already by our phones and devices. So that's the closest one to real life, sadly.
Fully admit that my phone controls me, so
mine too. Scary stuff. It will notify you when you can do what it wants you to do. Yeah, so crazy.
Where should everyone follow you on social media?
Yeah, check me out. I'm on Zach Caps, Zach Caps on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I recently launched a new newsletter. I joined the comic creator trend. So I have a newsletter called Technobabble on Substack. So you can join that and hear every week what I'm working on and get kind of the inside scoop on my books. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of Breakout this Wednesday.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Zach.
Thank you.
Making a half an hour for us.
Of course.
I can't wait to see you at
San
Diego.
Yeah, San Diego. I'll see you there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Bye, everybody.
All right, coming up next, we've got another interview, but first, words from our sponsors.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Andre, folks. I am your host, Andre Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadets.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectibles.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales. To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, Give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
Did you know that every Experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Talking Shop. Here in my local comic shop to remind you that these awesome books are coming out in your local comic shop. If you don't know where yours are, you just moved to an area and you want some help finding it, you can use Comic Shop Locator. It's just at comicshoplocator.com and a zip code. And that's all you need to be able to find one near you. And you can let them know, hey, for example, I want to add Zach Kaplan's Breakout so I don't miss that out. Miss that because that comes out this Wednesday. So you definitely want to do that. Next up, we're going to get to talk with John Parrish.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's so good to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, sorry. I never did a stream before, so I didn't think of having a webcam because I don't have one.
It's totally fine. I like your still image is awesome.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for having me.
I'm so glad to have you on. We're big fans of Everything Scout, and I know that if they're working with a talented person like you, that it must be an awesome thing that you're putting out. So,
Thank you.
All right, so I gotta get into the weeds of the beginnings of your comic book journey because I see that Secrets and Shadows came out when you were in Japan as an English teacher, and I gotta know more about that.
Okay. Well, I always wrote comic books or at least writing comic book scripts since like high school. Like I was on message boards and things, and I always wanted to do it. And so maybe around college, it was like my senior year, I finally was like, I'm going to make a comic. And so I went on the message board and I found an editor that I would go to. His name's Stephen Forbes. And so he started helping me work on my first comic book script. And so I graduated, and about a year after I graduated, while I was working on it, I ended up getting the teaching job in Japan. And so while I was in Japan, I was also working on Secrets and Shadows. But because I was in Japan, like I didn't really think about like I could put it out as a webcomic. So I just was making it, but I never like put it out in print until I came home, which was like in 2012. But yeah, that was like my first comic was something, it was like a superhero story. And it was just kind of like something I wanted to make like kind of for my dad, because he was the person who got me into comics. So it was like a comic to show him. And so I was working on that while I was in Japan for about 2 years. It was like a 6-issue series I did, myself. And one of the reasons I went to Japan was I had enough financial stability from that job that I could like pay everybody and, like get it done. So I worked on that for about 2 years, and then it came out, and that was like my first series, self-published. And yeah, it was a really good experience. I learned a lot from it also while working in Japan.
So it was your degree is the reason why you went to Japan because of the degree that you had that drew you into that, or was it just an opportunity that popped up? You're like, I'm gonna grab onto something really cool like that.
A little bit of both. Well, like I was an English major. And so a big part of it, like it kind of ties into my dad, was that like my dad was a martial artist. And so he always wanted to go to Japan. And so he'd tell me stories about different like fighters and different martial artists when I was a kid. But he never really went to Japan himself. And so it was always one of the things I wanted to do was to go to Japan and like kind of, if I could figure out how to go to Japan, I could get my dad to Japan kind of thing. And so when I was in college, there was a program in my college that was like graduating students could teach in their sister city in Japan. Is a city called Kuji. And I didn't get it my senior year. I think I applied and I didn't get it and I was crushed. But then the next year there was an opening available for alumni. So I got that position. And so I got to go. And so it was helpful that my degree was in English. And that like I had kind of at that point in between graduation and getting that job, I had worked as a teacher's aide at a school in my hometown. So it kind of helped. But it was a little bit of both, but it was like, I think the major motivator was like my dad, he always talked about it. So it was something I wanted to do, but also there was those external motivations to do it.
So did you guys spend a lot of time on the phone talking about your experiences there?
Not really. Like my father was very, he wasn't very technologically, like into technology. Like he didn't have like internet or anything. Yeah, he was very much not a fan of like the internet. I don't think he had a computer. I think he got a computer when I went to Japan. That's when he got a computer and he got Facebook and things like that. But I think like we Skyped a couple times because I would Skype with my mother. And so my parents were divorced. So sometimes he would come and he could sit in and talk to me. But like it was very rare. And like maybe sometimes I think on his phone he had a little email. Like you could like text or so I could do that. But like we never like talked on the phone really back and forth because it was just like he was very much not into technology. So it's like I kind of made do to like show him as much as I could and talk to him when I could.
Oh yeah. It took me until I think last year I finally convinced my parents that cell phones should stay on and not live in their car glove box off.
Oh,
I could not actually reach them in any way if it was there.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
And they are of the age where I need them to be holding a cell phone so that I can reach them if I need to.
Yeah.
All right. So you came back from Japan. Did you start a career when you came back to the States?
I kind of had enough money saved up that I decided that I was going to try doing comics and give myself some time to do that. And so I did Secrets and Shadows, and then and unfortunately, this ties into stuff. Unfortunately, I think the year I came back, my dad passed away. So he had a sudden heart attack while I was in Japan. And so when I came home, I had to settle his affairs first and kind of figure all that stuff out. But then I was like, okay, well, I made Secrets and Shadows and I want to make something else. And, I loved writing comics. I really enjoyed it. So I was like, let me try something else, something a little bit different, something a little bit lighter. And then I made my second series, which was Cluster F, Cluster Bleep,
Cluster F.
Yeah, Cluster F, And so I worked on that, and I was very fortunate that on Secrets and Shadows, which has the same artists, most of the same art team as Mega Centurions. It was, Dexter Wee, Cote Carvajal. The first issue was done by an artist named Marco Roblin, and the editor, like I said before, was Stephen Forbes. Most of those people work on Mega Centurions, but Cote knew an artist named Diego Toro, and so he did the art for Cluster F. So we did that, and then I took it to Alterna, and so it got published there for in 2014 digitally, and then there was a Kickstarter and then it came out in 2016. And I've done like some freelance stuff, but I don't have like a set like 9 to 5 right now, or like back then, you know what I mean? Like it kind of bounce around. Yeah.
I think that's the way comics are.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, so it's they what I see from people that I have followed in the industry is that sometimes it's like comes in like fits and starts, where it's like real quiet and then everything happens at once.
Oh yeah. It's actually funny, in my newsletter that I do, I talk about how that is, I'm going through that now with Mega Centurions, how it was like so long of like, you know, you've worked through it and then it's kind of figuring things out and then it's really quiet. And then now it's like boom, 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 boom. Like there's new stuff every week. I'm getting like emails like, oh, hey, this is out, or oh, hey, check this out, or oh, hey. And it's like, it's really, I like it. Sometimes it could be like, you got to be able to roll with the punches, but I really enjoy that. I really enjoy, like, I don't know, when it's busy, I enjoy it being busy.
Are you a person that if it's not busy that you're a procrastinator?
Sometimes I think a lot of times it's like I have to find something to do. I can very much, like, I have to make myself busy, or I have to find something to focus on. But the past 2 years kind of have helped me be okay when it's not busy, like, because I had to be like isolated and be at home, and like I kind of had to be okay, just like sometimes there just wasn't anything to do, or I couldn't go anywhere, or I couldn't do certain things that I used to do. Is like I had to kind of be okay just like sitting down and sitting still, and that's hard for me. I sometimes I can get very hyper, so like I was just like having to make do with not being able to just get up and go as freely, or like, you know, do stuff as freely as. So I've learned to kind of be more relaxed and not be as anxious in the quiet times as much. Yeah.
That makes all the sense. Okay, so how did you do Mega Centurions first and then Scout found you through it, or did Scout find you and hook you together with a storyline for Mega Centurions?
Mega Centurions was something I've been writing, started writing it like probably like 2015, 2016. It was like, and so it's me, like I said, Dexter, we did the art, Kote did the colors, the letterer, Christian Dokolomansky, he had worked on Scout. He had done Scout books. And so when we were doing it, I think like maybe like a year in, he was like, oh, I think Scout would really like this. And at the time I was really focused on self-publishing. And in my mind, I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll do a Kickstarter or something. Like that's where my mind was on. And so we were like working on it. And then, like just a lot happened in those last few years. And so like, I think when we were finishing it up, I think Christian came back again and was like, oh, you should really like consider submitting it to Scout, taking it to Scout. And I was like, okay, you know what, I'll give it a try. I really, I'll give it a shot. And so I went to the submission page. I looked, I made sure I had everything set up and I submitted it. And I feel like I got a pretty quick response. Like, I think it was the same day. And so I went and, we had email correspondence back and forth, and I think we signed up fairly quickly. It might have, so probably like, it was like maybe in less than a week, but like everything was kind of, yeah.
I love the way things work in comic books now, that it used to be that it just was really tough to get your self-published work, stuff that or self-created work made anywhere, that everyone wanted to have whatever they had planned for their lineup as an artist or a writer, but not necessarily to do the things you wanted. And now it's so much different, because almost all of the companies are looking for fully realized things so they can just raise up creative voices. And I think I love the way everything has changed from the 90s until now, or at least I feel like it's changed from the 90s until now.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's great. I like, because as much as I I love comics, but I love comics as a medium. So I love when I get to see like new stuff that I've never thought of, or like I see a book and I'm like, man, I wish I thought of that, or something that maybe there was a time where these premises or these ideas would not be out, or they wouldn't really get the chance to be seen at a certain level. So I just really like that there's so much stuff and there's so much variety and there's so many different kinds of books and creators, and there's so many options, because I think it just makes comics better when there's just, it's like more than just one thing, and it's more than just one thing at multiple levels.
Absolutely. So what is like kind of the short non-spoilery synopsis for Mega Centurions?
Okay. Well, basically it is about three young people. It's Cassidy, Reggie, and Thad. And basically as teens, they were the Mega Centurions. Very obvious Power Ranger, not parody, but homage or whatever. And basically it's like, they win, they save the day, but, we cut to 5 years later and things are just not great. Basically it's like, they're working these dead end jobs, they're kind of struggling, and it's like they're just kind of frustrated with their lives because it isn't what they thought it was going to be. And so it's just them dealing with that, and then some craziness happens that kind of throws the past back into their lives.
I like it when books kind of address the non-glamorous side of super heroism, that it's like the big acts that they do are only these short little snippets of their lives, and then what else?
Yeah. I think that's something I love doing in my stories, because Secrets and Shadows kind of deals with that too, where it was about like, it takes place where it's like the city hasn't had a supervillain in like 5 years, because like the big hero, he like killed a supervillain, and like that was a step too far. And then it shows what happens after that. So it's like what happens after the big event comic. And so it's like it deals with like his family, and it deals with the city, and it deals with like the reality of like superheroes, and sort of superheroes like kind of becoming like a business in a sense, because there's no real supervillains and stuff. But I always like those like what happens next kind of stories, where it takes place after, the glamorous, oh, they saved the day. It's like, well, what would happen after this? And Mega Centurions kind of came from kind of a joke. It started out more jokey, but it was like, how did the Power Rangers, how did they graduate? How did they graduate high school? They kept running off to fight.
They were never there.
They were never there. They wouldn't have graduated. They would have missed big tests. They would have missed, how was their family dynamic, and it kind of addresses that. But it's not necessarily about that. It's like we're seeing the aftermath. So it doesn't fully like focus on them when they were the Mega Centurions, but you kind of get to see the fallout of it. But that's something I always like writing about.
So do you have any other projects in the works that are upcoming?
Not really. I think when Mega Centurions, when I was working on it, I kind of got tunnel vision. Like there was just so much going on. And I had plans to do, I was supposed to take some film courses and some things like that. And then that was like 2020. Like it was I think the classes were supposed to start like August of 2020. So obviously it didn't happen.
Right.
But I have, so I was just like, with everything going on, I was like, I have to finish Mega Centurions. If this is the last thing I do, I'm going to finish this book. But right now, like now that I've finished it, I don't know, it freed up so much space in my brain. So like now I have all these ideas that I'm like really working on, but they probably won't come out initially. They probably won't come out anytime soon. They'll probably be like maybe next year, but maybe the year after that. But I plan to have a lot more in the pipeline.
Do you find yourself doing better work when you have just a single focus for what you're working on?
Yeah, I think it's changed, because I think before I could do two things at once, because I think I started writing Cluster F when I was finishing Secrets and Shadows. Like, I could do both around the same time, but now I feel like I like to focus a little bit more. But it changes over time. Like, sometimes I can bounce around, but I think I enjoy giving something my full attention.
I think sometimes it's a confusing thing to know whether, like, when writers like Cullen Bunn have like 4 books coming out in a week, is it really they're working all of them on them at the same time, or they just happen to now be putting them out at a time they're all together? It's hard to know.
Yeah, and I think that used to kind of, I don't know, not discourage me, but it made me feel like, you'd see people and they'd have like all these books out and they'd have like all this stuff, and you're like, and I'm like, man, I'm not doing that much. But then, like, I think people have even said on Twitter, like, I wrote this 2 years ago and it's coming out now. So like, they're like, I didn't write all this at the same time. And I'm like, oh, okay. It kind of gave me more like, okay, just take your time and, work at your own pace, because everyone has a different pace. And I think if you compare yourself to other people and their output, like, you will really discourage yourself, rather than just, I don't know. Yeah. Just be fine with your own pace. Cause if you're doing it on your own time, it'll work out. Like, it'll come out, like, cause I worked on my stuff, but now when I go to conventions, or when I've gone to conventions, I have a pretty sizable catalog. So I think it's like, don't get discouraged, and understand, like, sometimes people work at different paces. Some people do put their books out at the same time. Some people don't. Some people, just work on one thing at a time and the timing lines up. But, just know what your pace is, or figure out what your pace is and work at that, because, you'll burn yourself out otherwise.
Sure. So for any of your books, do you find yourself kind of writing parts of your personality into your characters, or are you just completely making somebody that would never, you don't identify with them in any way for all of them, or you just like all of them are peppered stuff of you?
I think it's, for Secrets and Shadows, the main character was kind of like a mix of, it was kind of based on me and kind of based on my dad, because that's who I wrote it for. And so, like, the main character, his name was Joseph Shaw, and so he was based, like, so I said, it was a little bit of me, a little bit of my dad, and like, it kind of pulled from like certain aspects of like how I viewed my family dynamic and things like that. And then Cluster F came from a story I wrote to make my high school friends laugh. It came from just this little goofy story, but it was about me and my friends, and I just would exaggerate the events that happened the previous day. I'd go home and I'd write it. And so the characters were named Jim, or the characters had our names. And I think at some point, because I was in high school, so I was really immature, and I probably wrote some really, like, I would look back and be really cringe. Like, I would feel really like I'd cringe at what I wrote. But like, at some point, I think like a teacher took one or something, so I changed the names. And so John became Jim, and my friend Ivan became Carl. And so it's like, I changed the name, but then once I changed the name, they became their own characters. And so they slowly evolved. And then when I, years later, when I was like, oh, I want to make a new book, and I made Cluster F, it's the same. It's Jim and Carl, but they're not me and my friend anymore. It's like, it's kind of an evolution of that character. But like, sometimes, yeah, they kind of start at the base. There's a little bit of something that I can identify with in a lot of my characters.
Yeah, I always suspect. I mean, I'm sure there's writers out there that can be completely like, this person has nothing to do with me, and I'm not pulling from anything at all. It's all my great imagination. But I feel like I like knowing that writers have a little bit of themselves in the characters. Like, surely like the despicable bad guy is not anything that, like, maybe it's stuff like you think to yourself, if I had to be a bad guy, I guess this is the way I would operate.
Yeah.
I also wonder if we have like a lot of writers, I wonder if we all carried around like spiral notebooks and wrote down stories to entertain our friends, because I can remember doing that too.
I still have like some of them somewhere in this house. Like I have a box and it has like, I think I have like a couple of them from like high school, like the old like composition notebooks, like, and some of them were like for math class, but it'd be like some of my math work and then it'd be like 2 pages of like of a story and then maybe a little bit of math and then a story and then some sketches or doodles or something. But like, yeah, I was that kid that just sat and wrote, and I just write all the time. And so like, yeah, I think I just love writing and I just love telling stories and making characters.
Well, to your credit, I think that's exactly what I hear from all professional writers when you ask them, how do you break into becoming a professional writer? Then they all say the same thing: write and then write some more. And when you're done writing, write.
Yes.
So you did it right.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. John, where is the best place to people follow you on social media to follow what you're up to?
Probably Twitter, which is John H. Parrish. That's probably the best place. I'm very like sporadic. Like I really just like tweet like, and then I'll forget what I tweeted, and then I'll tweet something else, and they'll have no connection. So like it's very like random, but like just understand like I get very easily distracted. So like sometimes I'll like write something and it'll be really heartfelt or something, and then I'll go and I'll make a sweet potato. I'll be, oh man, sweet potatoes, and then I'll tweet about sweet potatoes. So like that's the best. Yeah. So it's like this is the best. But that's the best place to kind of keep track of me, and I try to like tweet at least, not all the time, but like at least once a day, a few times a day, I'll come in and do something. But I don't have it on my phone, so like if I do it, that means I'm actually at home.
Probably actually writing.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, John. We look forward to adding Mega Centurions to our pull boxes. Because I wasn't thinking about it before, because I'm not really a person that's like, great, superhero stuff, but this is not a superhero book in my brain. This is totally about the what happens behind the scenes. And I love those kinds of books. So I'm super glad I talked to you. And I'm sure other people are thinking that right now. So remember to go to your local comic shop or call them today and add that to your polls so you don't forget. If you're like me, you'll like Doug the dog and things will get distracting and you'll forget to do something. So don't do that.
Yes.
Thank you so much, John. And thank you, everybody here on The Experience, for joining us for Talking Shop. We'll see you guys next week with some more awesome interviews. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for having me.
Join the party. Head over to our Linktree to find all the links for everywhere The Experience is all the time.